This is Midrash Chris, uh, thinking about different Jewish things. I was thinking this past week a lot about the first episode of HBO's series The Plot Against America, and the opening scene where you see the family. I think they're called the Levin family. In the book, it's the Roth family, but they changed the last name. And it's Friday evening, and you have this scene where they're having Shabbos dinner. And I really like that scene because I think that for the first time that I recall in quite some time, you see a family having Friday night dinner, Shabbos dinner, in the way that I think a lot of families of a certain time and a certain era had Shabbos dinner. And it's different than the way I normally see these scenes shown. A lot of times when they show a Friday night dinner scene and it's supposed to be Shabbat or Shabbos, you find that they kind of make this a let's educate the goyim, and let's make this kind of a transferable experience, meaning let's let it be something that would be seen from an outsider's viewpoint. And so they kind of focus in on, okay, the mother is lighting the candles, kind of like on Fiddler on the Roof, where the candles are on the table, and it's this very sacred, somber moment, and everyone is silent as the mother lights the candles, and then the father takes the cup. But it's interesting that they show a family that is still in the chaos of trying to set the table and get everything together while the mom's lighting the candles, which I think is what actually tends to happen in a lot of families and used to happen, where it wasn't, there was no Fiddler on the Roof out, and there was nobody who was saying, okay, we need to set the scene. This is something that happens on Friday night. You light the candles, and the candles are not on the main table where the food is. The candles are on a side table. And I think that that's what a lot of people don't realize happened in a lot of Jewish families and still happens today. Lighting the candles for many people, for many families, is the woman's ritual that's done. And even if the man's doing it, it's not the, okay, everyone quiet, this is a sacred, somber moment. Instead, this is this is seen as just something that happens. And I thought that was just really, really interesting because I've never seen a Friday night Shabbos dinner scene that looked like what I think a lot of American Jews grew up with, and a lot of American Jews still have. It's not for especially for that group of people, which may be ever shrinking, of which I consider myself a part of, that traditional but non-orthodox group. It's not like absolute silence. It's not complete solitude. And I think that a lot of times when you're shooting a scene and you're trying to make this, you try to make it comparable. And I find that oftentimes when I have had, when I try to explain Shabbos dinner to people, to Christians, it oftentimes ends up sounding a bit like communion. And it's not communion. And if you were to watch this scene, you would not think that it was communion. And I also like that the father, he doesn't make a proper kiddush. He doesn't say the whole blessing. He just says the opening Borei Pri Hagafen, which a lot of American Jews who do Friday night dinner, that's what they do. They don't do the full thing. And they're talking about baseball in between the motzi, and it's really interesting. And I thought that it was a really nice scene of Jewish Americana.